What's up, guys? Welcome to Fitter Food Radio. We're at episode 199, only one away. And of course, it's me, Matt Whitmore, and
Me.
Keris Marsden.
Can't do a voice like you.
Can you not? I don't
Just
know where they
just
come
tried to
from.
do I'm
They're
getting
just
better.
like,
I've just tried to do a Scottish accent.
yeah,
Not
well,
very
it
good.
wasn't great, to be fair.
No.
I was like, she's Canadian. No, Jamaican.
It's
Yeah. Oh, you're Scottish. Okay.
I'm like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Hello, dear. That's all I
To
can
to
do.
be fair, that's Scottish. That was better. That was more Scottish than the one you did
Dear.
earlier. It's always funny with accents, I find, because everyone has their like stereotypical accents. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone tries to do an American accent, they almost do like a proper deep South,
Yeah.
almost like
Oh,
yeah,
New York.
like
I can do
cowboy.
New York quite well because we've been
Howdy, ma'am.
there. Yeah. Coffee.
Coffee. Um, but then of course when everyone does like if Americans do British, they always do "Ooh, cup of tea."
Yeah, yeah,
You
they
know, it's
do.
always posh, isn't it? Even though it's like, no, there's many other accents. Anyway.
It's funny seeing American actors in British films doing a British accent because it's always over egged, isn't it? It's like
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Because
too British.
yeah, it's almost too much. But I remember, in fact, I might have spoken
When
about
we
this
went to New
before.
York, actually, do you remember this? When we laugh, every shop we went in, almost people would stop you because you looked American, and they go, "Say that again," and then
Yeah,
they'd like go, "Oh my God, he's British!"
yeah. I
Like,
must say, I always used to think this whole Americans love a British accent thing was just, well, I just thought it was just all like hype, like someone was all like back in the day when it was like Hugh Grant and
yeah, yeah,
whatever. And then when I went to America, I was like, holy shit, like it's a thing.
yeah,
They
yeah.
do genuinely like the British
They
accent.
especially
Like,
liked Matt with a British accent, didn't they?
well, I'm not gonna lie. I may have taken advantage of it a few times.
Is there a discount?
Got a few free coffees.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? I was gonna say then.
Sorry, railroaded you.
Oh, we're talking about accents. Oh yeah, no, that was it. Because I wanted to tell a story. Because I don't know if I've shared this before, but many, many, many years ago, one of my PT clients was an actor, and I'm not going to name names. No, I'm joking. It wasn't anyone like mega famous as such, but he'd been in a lot of things, and he was a really really great guy, and he was always egging me on to audition for stuff. Do you remember? And I was like, no, no, no. And then one day he emailed me a part that his agent had sent him, and he was like, "This isn't me at all." But as soon as I saw the description of this guy that they're after, I just thought of you. And it was like, preferably like over 6 foot, built, like blah blah blah. So it was very all about like the aesthetics. It wasn't like, like I don't know, needed to speak a certain language or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
just based purely
a
on
look.
looks,
Yeah,
like someone that was like, quite what's the word when someone's like got quite a like, physical presence, almost like a
I don't know.
anyway.
Yeah.
And the film was actually for now I'm saying it, I feel like I've told this story, but I'm going to carry on with it. But I'm pretty sure it was a Tom Cruise film,
Right.
right? But I don't actually think it ever got made because the description of the film I don't remember ever seeing or
Right.
hearing about. But anyway, um, he was like, I think you should audition for the part. The audition that they're asking for is this particular scene from the Gladiator movie. And I was like, oh, bloody hell. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because it's something I was like, I thought this is going to massively take me out of my comfort zone. And I told Keris I was doing it, and he was going to read so I was um, Russell Crowe, like whatever his name was in Gladiator now. I can't remember.
I can't
Um, and he played the part of like, I think who was the guy who was Jack, is it Jacqueline Phoenix, who was playing like Caesar?
Is it Joaquin?
Joaquin.
Jack.
Jacqueline.
Jacquin. I don't
That
know if I said it
yeah,
right, but it's definitely not
that
Jacquin.
fella, that fella, and but what he did say to me, this is, I was thinking, where's the relevance here?
I don't know, but I
He
just think it's very a good story, the build
he
up to
he
it.
he said with the accent, because I was like, well, what's the accent? Because if you remember, he's almost like he's not quite British, but he's not quite full blown American in Gladiator.
can't even remember.
And
It's
he
been watched
said
that film
that's
for
the
years.
key. It's almost like just don't be British, but don't be too American. And I remember doing this almost like practice with him, trying to get it. He was like, no, you're going too American. You're too American.
That's kind of a very vague, very
It
impossible
was quite tough
accent to
because
do.
it was almost
Don't
hard
be too
to.
British, not too American.
It was hard to be stable
Yeah.
because you'd almost dip between British, American. It was like this hybrid that I kept doing, but then I felt like I kind of got it towards the end. But anyway, when we did the audition, I didn't really have to do anything beyond like memorizing the lines somewhat, or not even memorizing them, but not necessarily just looking down at a bit of paper all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really, really uncomfortable. I never got the part, and like I said, don't like the film ever got made. Maybe they scrapped it altogether because they were like, no, this is silly.
It was a very detailed story about
Yeah.
an audition where you never got the part.
Well, no, it was twofold. I was trying to like talk about the accent thing, and
Yeah.
you said people over egg it,
Right.
and I thought, like,
see.
imagine me. I was like,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, howdy, my name's Gladiator.
Give me a coffee.
Was it father of a murdered son, husband of a murdered wife? I'm here to get my vengeance.
How do you do?
And then I was also thought it'd be an interesting story to let people know that I auditioned for a film because, you know, stepping out your comfort zone. And that's.
I'm surprised actually that you haven't done a film yet with you being the doppelganger for
Johnny Bravo.
No,
I always said if they make a Johnny Bravo into a movie, I'm your
that's
guy.
it. You'll be it. No, what's his face? Chris Hemsworth. We keep getting stopped here, don't we? I'm sure we've mentioned this on the podcast. We get stopped a lot.
Looking at me now, I'm like, God, today.
I think he wears a fleece of Crocs.
I don't
think he does.
I think I'm past it now. Chris Hems was.
Well, it's better than I get. I think I've talked. You're choking on your tea.
Get on my tea.
Still laughing at you
Anyway,
joke.
Wrong hole. Oh,
I guess
anyway.
Sally Phillips is my lookalike, which is
Yeah.
quite flattering, I feel.
Yeah, and you still,
I've had that since I used to work in a bank when I was 21. Yeah, and people came in and used to go, "You look like the woman out of Alan Partridge."
Well, it's funny because
and then it's like, "You look like the woman out of."
You never know a lot of people you don't know by name, and then when you mentioned it to me, I was like, "What?" And then I saw the picture, I was like, "Bloody hell, it's her!" Yeah, you do. But anyway,
to match your experience, actually, I had a very similar experience at singing this week, which was when you were saying about trying to be stable in your accent. It was interesting because I had to sing a solo in singing lesson this week in front of a group. The most horrific thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I practiced and practiced. I even sang on Saturday night in front of our friends, didn't I?
Did.
After a glass of wine, which definitely makes a difference.
It helps.
And it was a song I knew really well. And I printed off my lyrics. It's a U2 song called Running to Stand Still. But when I practiced it with music, I had this issue that I don't do karaoke that much, but you almost try and become, I was trying to become Bono when I did it with music. But when I sang it on my dog walks, I sang it as me.
Yeah.
And then I started to practice with the music and I was like, something's going wrong. I'm starting off like low, like Bono, like, so she woke up. And then you get to the chorus and I was going, oh, and I was like, this is wrong. I can't do it. So when I actually came to sing it in front of everyone, I said, this is quite tough for me because I keep going, when I put the music on, I can't seem to settle into my voice. Absolute shit show, honestly, all over the place. But do you know what? I started shaking as my voice kept breaking and I was messing up. And do you know what? I stood there and I absolutely, because I think this is part of my kind of like healing journey has been, like I've said to you, stop caring what people think, but also feel feelings. And I went right back to school where we had to, when we got to high school, I can't believe they did this to us. We had to sing with our music teacher. You had to go up in front of the class and sing Cats. Do you remember that?
No.
Memory.
I know the thing, but I don't remember.
We all had to do a solo, and basically the music teacher, I think he took the piss, and he would like with me. I think he howled when I went and stuff. But you know, like all the girls that were great at choir, he was like, "Yep, you're in choir. Yep, you're not." And that was all they did. I don't even remember why we had to do it, but it was horrific. And I basically had to relive that in front of everybody, but I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't run out of the room, and I had to sing, and I was shaking. But it was amazing. Like I kind of sang through it, and eventually your body calms down, you stop shaking. Then she's like, the music teacher's amazing. She's like, right, round two. And everyone's done this. Some people have cried when they've stood up and then they've had to sing. crying because they're so nervous. So that's the point of it. It's a bit like Toastmasters where you go and learn public speaking. And but what's funny is like I think I was saying to you, everyone there, pretty much everyone in the class is German except me. And so when I kept trying to make jokes to get through it, and it was just like they were all just kind of looking at me going, huh. Like nobody got my jokes, so that was even worse.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't joke my way out of a really awkward situation.
Just quickly
Go on.
hold that thought.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day. You know, when people share these things, they go, "Oh, like classic British banter."
Yeah.
Like was like the description, and I watched it, and it was genuinely really funny. But then there were people in the comments that were like were either American or from from somewhere outside the UK, and we're like, "Oh, sorry, help me understand. I don't get it." You know, like blah blah blah. And one guy was like, I didn't understand a word he said or saw the funny side, but I started laughing because they were laughing. And it made me laugh because I was like, how many times like do people do that? Laugh because it's like, well, everyone else is laughing. It's like, like this is my cue to laugh. But equally, there's also that thing of like laughing being infectious.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, you see those social experiments where there's that one where there's a guy stood at a bus stop and there's loads of people there and he starts sniggering to himself and then the laugh starts to build and you can see people around like looking at him, but then as his laugh gets a bit more intense, like other people start giggling, and the next thing you know, this whole bus stop is almost like erupted in laughter. Amazing. All because this guy just started laughing. Anyway.
It was funny as a kid. Do you remember situations like that where you were being told off?
Yeah.
And it was like, if you laugh again,
yeah,
you know, you'll go to your bedroom. And it was almost like, oh my God, I'm really trying to fight to hold it in. But amazing feeling, wasn't it? Don't you like, and then try and make you know, saying when you were being, I remember once actually, I'm sure this was at school, where it was like, we were doing a Mexican wave every time the teacher turned to the board. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we all got caught and everyone absolutely pissed themselves. And he was basically trying to give us a bollocking and just no one could keep a straight face and you could see people shaking and then it's like the whole room's like, and he's like, if anyone laughs again, it's detention. And we're all like, oh my God, don't laugh. Yeah. It's so hard. But yeah, the minute you see someone vibrating. Anyway, we digress.
So carry on anyway.
No, that was the story really. It was just really, I don't know, I'm really proud of myself because I had to stand there like a nervous wreck and like let all those feelings come through. But it's amazing, like feel them, don't run off, don't go anywhere, but don't come out of the class and go, oh, that was terrible. I came out and I was like, wow, I'm just so proud of myself for doing that. Like that was incredible to like, normally the perfectionist in me would be tortured by that, whereas I was like, no, it's funny. And she's like, Keris, next week you'll do that song again. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to relive this hell. But I know because everyone's done this in class. Like one of the girls is amazing now, but apparently when she first started, she was like a mouse and crying, and she's really found her voice and sings. My slight worry is I cannot sing full stop, even though they believe everyone can sing, don't they? That there's a premise, you just don't know how. So what the music teacher does, the singing teacher, sorry, is like she gets us using our diaphragm and projecting from our stomach, and like you're not supposed to lift your chin because you squash the throat. So she gives you all these techniques to actually sing. We do warm-ups, we like have to blow bubbles in water and stuff. But this week I was like, but what if I am the one person that just doesn't even can't sing? Do you know what I mean? Like, because everyone else you can see improvements, whereas I can't really see me improving that much. But then I am a bit behind everyone, but also I'm like, maybe I'm just not supposed to sing. I don't know.
But I think first of all, everyone's their own worst critic. You know, so there is that, and I think other people probably notice your progress more than you. I think it's quite common, but just as
what was nice actually, sorry, just last bit of my story, was one of the guys who went after me. We're good friends, we've been for coffee and stuff. Like it's really weird because everyone looks right in your eyes when you're singing. That alone is strange for me. We've done quite a few workshops, I know, but we've done some workshops, haven't we? You've done it with like men's groups. I went to kind of a woman's workshop, and there was a lot of like, you had to basically dance. I had to dance with another woman and we had to maintain eye contact. And it's the weirdest thing because I don't even do that with you. Do you know what I mean? Like we'll talk, we look away, you look down. And it was basically about like trying to make a connection with a person. So when you're singing in front of a crowd, in the end I stopped and looked out in the window, and that really helped because you've got like a bit more elevation in your posture and stuff. But he went after me and he sang a song that was really important to him, and he proper, there's like a 2-minute instrumental bit or about a minute and a half in the middle. It's a Black Sabbath song. He proper did air guitar. It was amazing. And we all started like waving imaginary candles and like clapping. he just went for it. But when he sat down, he turned to me and he went, "I am shaking from head to toe." And I was like, God, you would never know it. Like you could tell I was shaking because my piece of paper was shaking and my knees were shaking. But I was like, you know what? Just ride it out. Just stay here because this will disappear in a few weeks' time. And like the point here is that you experience this and go through it. Like, but yeah, I wouldn't have known it with him. But and I honestly, no one in that class has even asked. They'll leave there, and it's not like they're going, I mean, could you see her singing? That was terrible.
Yeah.
They're not even bothered. I know they're not bothered. And
No.
it's nice to have that competency now to go.
And also, like, you've gone for singing lessons. It's not like
Yeah, exactly.
it's not a showcase. You
But
know what I mean?
this is where it is a bit, I guess, like difficult in that some people are already Mariah Carey when you get there. And that's no word of a lie. There's a girl in the class, and honest to God, she has the voice of like she can sing anything. But even I see her get awkward because she's been asked to do songs that she doesn't know very well, so she stops and starts, and like she was saying this week, oh, I feel like it's too high here for me, I don't think this is the right song, blah blah blah. And so it's like, God, everyone's got their thing. But when she goes for it, everyone in the class is kind of like, fuck, you can really sing. Like I definitely, no one says that about me when I leave. I get a pat on the knee when I sit down. Like, well done.
Yeah. Gold star.
Yeah.
A for effort.
Yeah.
Oh no, I do.
A for staying up there.
I'm very proud of you. I really am, because like I couldn't see me doing it. You know what I
Maybe you
mean?
come one week,
Maybe that'd be
do
hilarious.
some M&M or something.
Maybe I've got a natural talent.
Yeah, you probably have.
Just be like, imagine that it comes out, I'm like, oh, I've got voice of an angel.
Pavarotti.
Where did this come from? No, but honestly,
You could rap because I've heard you like sing rap.
sing rap.
I've heard you rap to your
Rap.
favorite songs, and
Yeah.
like you could probably, I think you could
That's
rap
that's more like
because you
just
kind of beatbox and rap, and I think
that's
like
more like a only when I'm clowning. Like
yeah, but
that's more like rhythm and like I don't know, like flow, isn't it? It's not so much singing, is it? You haven't got to tap into like certain vocals as such. Like
rhythm.
I'm taking the piss here.
It's the new Southeast. I thought you could say rhythm and blues. I was like, no, it's definitely not that.
Do you know what rap stands for? I've told you this
I
before.
did know, yeah.
See if you remember.
Oh, rhythm and purpose.
Poetry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, like, honestly, I am incredibly proud of you, and I'm really proud that you keep going and you tell me these stories. But
I'm going to sing at our wedding.
interesting.
I'm going to sing at our wedding.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Because
cool.
we
Actually,
haven't got round in the
I
last.
could dance. I could be like a little backing dancer. That'd be epic. Because our friend plays the guitar.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have a full on like choir.
Yeah.
At the wedding. Yeah, this is what I've decided. I've told you this before.
I believe I've.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that.
But
We're like sister act.
yeah, but it's taken us like we haven't done anything in what 2 years, so it's
What,
really
for our wedding.
yeah. We haven't
Yeah,
even
we'll probably
started
get
it.
married in 2030 or something.
But
But
we've got time.
2026.
Okay.
That's a good target. 2025 is just too close now.
You could do. You know, there's songs where people come in and do the rap.
Yeah.
That's where you'll come in and do.
That's me.
That would be amazing, actually. So I'll be leading the choir, and then both you have the two sides, and everyone has their part, and then you come in and do the rap in the middle. There you go.
Okay. Like a little like, do I write the rap? Yeah. Write my own.
No,
Write my own.
like I'm not going to write a song. It will be a song we choose with a rap in the middle.
That's not anywhere near as impressive then. I thought we were going to do the works, write the song. You know.
There's an En Vogue song I've been singing in the car, actually.
We're getting distracted. I want to say what I'm going to say. God damn it. So this is an observation, right? Like, you know, when people say that people use humor as a cover up for potentially like insecurity, shyness, and stuff like that, you know, or even sadness, you know, people put their sense of humor forward as a mask to kind of cover it. And I think that's relevant to what I'm about to say, because like you said, on Saturday, you had a little sing song when we were at a friend's house, albeit after a couple of vinos. But what was interesting was I was really proud of you then, because I could tell that you were nervous and you were singing, but you're singing quite quietly. But I loved it. Like, I really enjoyed seeing you do it. But then what was interesting was then when you went to the next bit, you tried to have a bit of a joke. and you started like blurting out like the next verse. And what was interesting, I think, because you were almost like, oh, this is a joke, this is just me clowning around, it's not serious. All of a sudden, like your voice went a lot louder, you sounded a lot smoother, and even our friends said like you actually sounded better when
Pretending.
when you were, yeah, almost pretending, because it was almost like a, it wasn't real, it wasn't me. It was almost like I'm not trying to sing well, I'm just joking and being really loud. But in you being loud, everything was, I don't know, it did sound better.
So you know, I've said before, like a lot of the things that I've been doing outside of work, there's like almost like metaphors for life in it, because often a lot of the things we do in terms of staying in our going out your comfort zone, like a lot of it's work related, and it's it involves like more pressure on self. But a lot of the time we're actually staying in our comfort zone. The only thing we do is just take on more of everything in terms of more workload, more stress loads. We never actually challenge ourselves to kind of like on a skill set basis. And with the singing, when you get there, she's like, the problem is singing teacher said, everyone can sing. We're just all too scared to project our voice and
Mm.
speak up. And she says this a lot. And the reason that you're too scared to do that is because there's a lot of less messaging in life, you know, kind of like keep quiet, don't stand out from the crowd, you know. So it can be like your personality type that's been a result of all the messaging that you've had around you, like conform, fit in. I'm definitely like an upholder and always been someone who's just trying to fit in, you know, like don't draw attention to self. And you do end up getting quieter and quieter. And for a long period of time, this is kind of a nice segue actually. Like I've ended up falling sick because I didn't really speak up about a lot of things. And I just decided to push things down inside and just carry on with life. And because I wasn't communicating things, it led to a lot of like hidden anger, a lot of anxiety. So it manifests itself still. And what I've realized as I've started to do a lot more kind of self-development work and kind of healing work is like I could have communicated this just really compassionately to somebody I'm a nice person and I care. Do you know what I mean? I could have said these things out loud and it might have caused some upset, but that could have also resolved some things.
Mm.
But for most of my life, I've always kind of been the person that keeps things locked in and doesn't express emotions outwardly, but doesn't also, I don't ring my friend, I don't like, I'm not, if I'm sick or ill or anything, I don't reach out to friends and go, I'm having a really hard time, I feel this, I feel that. I even went back to like the first time I had my heart broken. I remember being really quiet on a night out and um a couple of friends were like, you're really quiet, like, are you all right? And I was heartbroken and I didn't really know what to do with it or how to work through it. And I knew I was going to cry. And in the end, I remember them dropping me off at home and I just flew out the back of the car and went, see you later. And they were like, are you all right? And they were shouting after me and I just ran up the drive and just poured like, you know, like tears just poured from
Oh,
me. Like I've always hidden that kind I've always been embarrassed to cry in front of people, embarrassed to cry in front of my brothers. I don't know where I get it from. But the more that you shove all this stuff down inside, the sicker you become. And over time, I've realized I started to have these angry outbursts. Just very occasionally, like once or twice a year, but literally like I flew out, like this anger came out of me and I didn't even know I had it in me. Do you know what I mean? Because I was so good at putting on a smile, but deep down inside, you know, and I think that suppression of anger and emotion really led to it becomes like a depression over time because you're so like, I think you're pushing it all in and it makes you very negative bias. And then over time, you just have this like kind of real ugh in you
mm.
that, and I couldn't even figure out what it was, but I think some of it was linked back to that. And yeah, and then I just have these big explosions every now and then. But it's just really interesting with singing that you're like, why don't I want to speak up? Why do I want to be loud? Do I want to be seen? You know, it's like a, you know, it's just, and some of that is your personality type, but it's great to go through these things. And
Mm.
I think some people do it through drawing, some people do it through acting. Like I've actually thought like at junior school, I used to love being in plays, but I've never done anything like that since. And it
Mm.
probably was really healthy for me to go and do something like that. Like, I don't know, just be seen and have a script and enjoy it as part of a team, whatever. But then you stop doing all those things. So then you just don't have these outlets or these
Yeah.
creative things that you do in life. It's
And I think as well, like it comes back to that fear of being like judged, if you will. Like it's almost like I don't want to fully
Yes,
commit.
definitely.
Like,
Sorry, yeah. I mean, it all comes back to what people think of you. That's
yeah,
why you're quiet, and that's why you don't express emotion publicly and stuff. Like,
as a bit of a I've just thought of then, right? So in rugby, when you tackle someone, you have to commit to the tackle, right? Otherwise, you're going to get hurt.
yeah,
But the irony is, someone's fear of getting hurt prevents them from fully committing to the tackle. But actually, the outcome of that is they're going to get more hurt. You see what I mean?
well, because they lose the game. Or
No, so like let's say like, someone's running at you full pelt, you've got this lump running towards you,
yeah,
and your job is to tackle them.
yeah,
Like, this big force is coming towards you. When you go at that person, like if you don't fully commit, they're going to absolutely like crumble you. You see what I mean?
right, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
if you go in at 75% when they're going at 100%,
yeah, 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 yeah.
you're going to come a cropper. Whereas like you need to meet their 100% with 100%. It still might hurt,
Do you know what?
but it won't hurt as much.
Yeah. So this is amazing.
So,
Like,
so what I'm saying is, it's almost like the fear of fully committing
yeah,
actually leads to a worser outcome
yeah,
than you fully committing. And the great example of that with you is you committed more when you were joking because there was less
yeah,
fear
yeah.
of being judged because I'm joking, and all of a sudden your voice just went boom, and it was like,
This is
whoa.
what the singing teacher says. She's like, you saw me. I was like there with a piece of paper, shaking, like so rigid. And she's always like soften the knees, like relax your body. But she was like, Keris, move, move, move. And I was like, I can't. Everyone's looking at me. Like, I can't. But I started to eventually on the second round. If you'd have given me 4 rounds of it, I'd have got it. And that's the frustrating thing about you only get 2 rounds on your song. And I was saying to you, like, I think I might do a bit more one-to-one because if I'd got my 4th round, like, it would have taken me 3 or 4 to relax.
Yeah.
But what she says is go all in. And she's like, please, I want to see hands shooting out. And I want to see, like, I want you to dance. I want you to move. I want the music to come through you. And if you started to do like an over exaggerated version, the voice that comes out of you is incredible. Like, but you have to fully commit. And I guess I'm just not there yet. I'm not used to it. And because it is about being seen and like, and I have a shyness around that. And I finished it and I went, if you were 100 people wanting to know about protein, I'd have nailed that. Like, that would not faze me whatsoever. Like, but when you're all sat there, like just staring at me, it's so like, ugh, I don't know. But it's like, and then one of them went, oh, can I ask you some questions about nutrition? I was like, yeah, I'll talk about that till the cows come home.
I'm laughing that there's like we love outtakes, don't we?
Yeah.
And there's this outtakes of Cat Williams. You know who Cat Williams is?
No.
He's
Who
like
are
a
they?
he's like an American comedian.
Right.
He's been in like films, like he's been in quite a lot of comedy films. But he's renowned for being like going off script
Oh,
and
right.
like
Yeah.
just completely
Ad
throwing
libbing.
people off. Yeah. And there's one where they're in like a church and there's like a choir and he's saying to one of the guys, he was like taking the mick out of his glasses. It's like get them damn glasses off. And he's like, I need them to read like the lyrics. And he was like, well, like basically had a puppet is singing. It was like, well, we'll sing blind and we'll listen deaf.
That's probably everyone will turn up next week smiling, and I'll be like, "Why are they smiling?" Well,
Earplugs in.
yeah. It was funny because one of the guys said when I was stood there and I got up and I was like, "Oh my god!" I don't know why because I did Dreams by Fleetwood Mac like a while ago, and I don't know why it wasn't that bad, but maybe because this song means quite a lot to me. It's like one of my favorite songs, and I don't know. And I just wondered if like someone from up above would come through and the voice of an angel would come out, but it did not turn out like that at all. So anyway, but yeah, it's good. Like I genuinely feel like it's good to do this kind of stuff.
But
And
do you enjoy it
do you know what? I'd enjoy it more.
if you were better?
No, I would enjoy it more as a choir, but I wouldn't go through experiences like that, which are all like
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's just it's just
That wasn't a dig, by the way.
no, I know, but I think it's good at our age to do stuff like this. Like we're about to go into like Portuguese lessons and stuff, and that will be like using Portuguese publicly is going to be there'll be well, like we were saying, my dad's done an amazing job. Like he's just really stayed with it, but my mum, and I think it's purely through being a bit embarrassed and not liking the learning process and speaking it out loud, just stopped. you know, and you actually don't need it that much here, because now there are so many different, like the Germans, the Dutch, and everyone just speaks English, so you could get away with not learning it. But me and you feel really strongly about learning it, don't we? And a lot of the elders come and speak to us, and we can't speak back yet, so we can just say a few words. So I think it's like, it's good to go out your comfort zone with these sorts of things. Like now there's other things that I've always wanted to do, like learn how to DJ, and I'm like, you know, I think just one by one add these things in and stop focusing on, you know, otherwise it is just like work, chores, you know, I don't know, and we just never grow, we never develop, we don't learn that much, or we lose ourselves in life. And that's kind of why I've put more focus on some of the, I mean, I actually started the singing lessons to help with, like, I'd read, you know, about voice coaching and singing, just helping if you do have things like reflux, it could be really important. But since then, I'm like, oh God, it's more about a journey of like confidence, self-esteem, being seen,
Yeah.
like, yeah. So
No, but like I agree. Like I think it is important to kind of like broaden your not even necessarily skill set as such, but like I think we should all step out of our comfort zone, but not to the point where we're just constantly chasing discomfort, which is a whole nother thing. But I
well,
think
do you
people
know what?
do.
I think that the most uncomfortable thing is just to, we've totally gone off topic of what we're going to talk about. We might as well stay on this
Way
topic.
off. Way off.
Is
There's
I
no segueing back
I
now.
haven't really spoken about my, I ended up doing it my kind of third psilocybin ceremony, and it linked really well with my first and second.
Can
But
I
the
can I
outcome of it
can I just
was,
finish what I was saying? Because I feel like
go on,
it's gonna
sorry, I
be
didn't realize, I thought you'd finished.
well, did you
I
know?
thought you were saying you don't want to chase discomfort
I'm
all
gonna
the
have to do
time.
this now, and then when I'm finished, I'll take my hand down.
Yeah, me speak. Sorry.
Yeah.
I do speak over you a lot. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's all
But
right.
what I was going to say was, is like we've spoken about this before. Like there are some things that you do because, of course, you enjoy them. It's a skill and it's something that you would like to get better at. You'd like to improve.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's probably going to get really, really frustrating. And that's great. You know, like whether it's like a sport, singing, surfing that we've spoken about getting into out here because we've got these lovely beaches nearby. Um, but there are some things that need to be just for you. Like it's not about quantifying whether you're getting better at it or if you're good at it or if anyone else thinks you're good. If it's something that you just enjoy doing, like whether that's like, I don't know, writing poetry or drawing. You know, you might not necessarily be good, but it might bring you joy to just sit there and draw or a doodle or whatever it might be. I'd imagine getting better improves the experience, but I think like we've said before, haven't we? It's like don't just do things because you're good at it. You know, do things because you genuinely like. I just really enjoy doing that, and that's something for me.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of things that I want to say about all of this, really, and it's that when so just to kind of go back, when I did my third psilocybin ceremony, they all tie in really well now, and they make a lot of sense to me, in that they were all about the alleviation of pain and suffering. And I think most people right now, globally, are we're all struggling because we've just had this massive shift in lifestyle, especially since lockdown, and you know, technology, and then the politics, like the political side is pretty destructive at the moment, in most countries actually. Just speaking to people here from Germany and Holland, and a lot of this stuff is completely beyond our control and we can't do anything about it, but it's creating a lot of stress, anxiety in people, and as a result, people are turning to kind of like comfort stuff and self-soothing, or like ranting and angry about the situation, and none of this serves us from a health perspective. And I think what I went through on my kind of, with my psychedelics, was the first session that I did was all about, I couldn't feel pain, and I wasn't anyone, and I didn't need to be anywhere, which is very similar to like Joe Dispenza meditations. And it was absolutely amazing, and it was like 8 hours of pure bliss, and I'd forgotten what that felt like, because again, I can't remember since being a grown adult when I didn't need to be somewhere doing something for somebody at a certain time. And I also, looking back, think I developed like obsessive compulsive tendencies to manage my anxiety, to manage my mood, to avoid feeling feelings and avoid depression. So I think that came about like pretty much as I went to uni and just crashed. Like that's when my, you know, I really think I probably suffered from depression but didn't know it. And just put all these things in place, and they were like clauses. I could be happy if, you know, I was okay if, and then they just stayed in place over time, and one replaced another. So like work would, you know, at a really hard time, a very difficult experience, I would just work and distract myself with work, or maybe run more, you know. So like I'd find these ways to escape feeling the feelings and just go towards endorphins and dopamine instead. So that first experience of that pure bliss, just in Glastonbury with loads of cartoons, was amazing.
Oh.
With music and everything, I was just like, I've never felt serotonin like this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know the last time I felt this good. But also that escape from, I'd like, I checked out of life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was amazing. The second one, it wouldn't kick in, and I started to have this expectation. I started to then drive myself mad, going, it's not going to work, and da da da. And then it kicked in, and then it was bliss. And then I was like, you're literally an addict now. You not just you. It was yeah, but it was also almost like the human race is addicted, because all we ever want is the next thing.
Yeah.
All we're ever chasing is our next hit. All we ever want to do is escape pain, and we do that by finding comfort or distraction. And it's sometimes healthy stuff, like you could justify it in work and exercise and go, yeah, but that's healthy stuff, you get away with it more. Or it's, you know, it's booze, or it's buying stuff online. And we've talked about this: smoking, drugs, computer games. Like we're all just looking, the addictions are all just to alleviate the pain, and that's all we do. And so we're all addicted in some way. And then my final one, I basically, it started off pretty horribly, and it's made me think about the psychedelic experience. You really do need to be doing deep work before and after, because it started off pretty horrible. But luckily, because I do a lot of meditation and breath work, I kind of was able to ground myself and kind of go through it.
Yeah.
But the main thing that was coming through was all of the pain that I experience is caring too much what people think of me, and getting lost in their stories, and getting lost in trying to fix and sort everybody out to give myself some kind of validation. And the message that came through really clearly was, you have to stop caring what people think, because it drives a lot of your choices and behaviors, and you're going against what your heart wants, what your gut wants. And then I was a bit like, what does that even look like? And it made me realize I don't even know, because for so many decades we've had pressures put on ourselves of how we should look, how we should talk, what we should achieve, what status, you know, and you don't even really know if you like those things, because they've been kind of just what you should do and the future that you should have and should follow. And it comes down from kind of generations and environments around us and stuff. Anyway, to me, it was really clear that I basically had to kind of like sit up and really start to experience feelings that I hadn't really had before, which was amazing. And I went through a very somatic experience, which I won't go into too much detail on. But out on the other side of it, I've now looked at decisions and gone, but do I want to do that? Or is this something I do because it's going to give me strong legs, you know, or you know, I've been told I should do this for this, or you know, but do I enjoy this, and do I need to work this long? You know, do we need to, just because we're self-employed, have we got to hustle, grind? Like, and
yes, yes, we do.
So I've questioned so much stuff, and I go back to my meditations a lot, and I'm really practicing at the moment surrender and acceptance. So if something terrible is going to happen, I'm going to have to go through that experience, feel the pain of it, feel the feelings, not go running for miles and miles and miles, not go and lose myself in work. I'm going to have to sit there and bawl my eyes out. And that's why the singing lesson, just standing and shaking and howling in front of everybody, was really powerful, because I was like, you have to not care what people think, Keris. Like, you've signed up for the singing lesson, just friggin' sing, and sing badly, and you'll get better. That if you care what people think, you won't come back to this class. And you realize how many things that you've stopped or given up because you weren't good enough, and how many things you've persisted at that you hated because you feel it will make you conform to society. I'll be good at sport, I'll get strong, I'll get fit, I'll be more academic, I could speak better, my vocabulary, but you know, like all these things. At the end of the day, if it's not making you happy and making you love your life, I think a lot of things can drop out. Some things we have to do, don't get me wrong. We have to hydrate and like, you know, and we do have to do some physical activity, and it's good to lift some weights. But even that, like, I've been speaking to clients all of this week who are so overwhelmed and so fatigued with life that I've been like, right, we're parking the gym for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to work on this, this, and this. And then we're going to bring the gym back, or we're going to do the minimal effective dose. It's going to be once or twice a week. We're going to get some big walks in because I want you to go to a beautiful space and reflect on all these things, because it's the life situation, the stress, the conflict in relationships, the conflict in, or the kind of fear of the future that's making everybody just not able to look after themselves, but also not enjoy their lives. It's the saddest thing, isn't it? We were like, all of our clients are kind of feeding back, you know, I'm just really struggling. And it's like, for us, we're like, well, we can't just tell you to eat more protein and take magnesium at this point in time. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's useful for everybody to do some of this work, and you don't need to necessarily go down the route of like psychedelics, plant medicine. I can save you the because I know, like, speaking to a friend, Alan, this weekend, we were chatting about it, and I was saying it was so, I didn't really have much to lose at that point. Do you know what I mean? In terms of when I went for it, it's not like I have kids and things. I honestly don't have. In a way, part of that was the journey. What
Cover your ears, Hamish.
I
How dare you talk about your son like that?
I understand if you're a parent that you would obviously be much more risk averse. Whereas I was at a point where I've tried this medication, that medication, these supplements, this diet, nothing. I just want to know answers, and I'm going to take this, but there are risks associated with it. So, you know, for me, it was something where I was like, I can't continue this way. So, but what was really interesting is I knew the answers all along. It's just maybe it gave me the wake up call, I guess. But you don't really need that necessarily. Like,
No.
you know, a lot of people have wake up calls through diagnosis of illness, or through a divorce, or death of a loved one, or leaving a job, or being made redundant. Like, wake up calls come in all forms, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think like you said, it's like, you know, you went down that path because it felt right for you at the time,
Yeah.
because of the journey you had been on. It wasn't like, oh, you just read it somewhere one time and like,
Yeah.
this sounds cool. Like, and I think that applies to absolutely everything. Like, you need to, it needs to be, it needs to come from within, whatever it is you decide to do. You know, like it's same as therapy, like therapy is something that, let's say, like we've both had therapy. We know a lot of people that have had therapy, and we came to that point ourselves when we kind of like sort that out, and it felt like the right time, and we've benefited from it. However, if you was to maybe try and help someone and go, you should go therapy, you should go therapy, you should do therapy, definitely do therapy, it's great, it's great. But if they're not ready, then it's like, well, no, then it's not great for them. Like, it's like, that expression, like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I
Yeah.
think it is like that. It's
Yes.
almost like
Yeah.
you can be forced down a road because you're like, well, everyone's telling me this, blah, blah, blah. But if subconsciously you're not there, you're never gonna commit to it in the same way. You're never going to get the most out of it, and you almost like have to wait for the right time. When the right time is, like, that's the big question. But you'll know.
Do you know what I think could be like? Because I keep thinking about what's the first step for a lot of people on this journey, and I think the first step is to stop being so busy. Because if we stay busy and distracted, you're never going to see that actually, like you just said, little things are dropping into your pathway, and teachers can appear and opportunities can appear, and you see that poster on the wall for the singing lesson. Do you know what I mean? But if you're just 100 miles an hour in your head, work, life, family stuff, responsibility, call this person, reply to that WhatsApp, flop on the sofa in front of Netflix, you won't ever get, it's like we're racing through life. Do you know what I mean? And you're not seeing these little side roads that go off with these amazing adventures that you could have, and that could take you on a completely different life venture eventually. Like, when I think about how did we end up in Portugal, it was like incredible when you look back, and I'm like, gosh, I've got probably very woo woo compared to a lot of people on this, but the universe led me here. um like, the universe led me here. It was just perfectly designed in every single way when I think about it. And it was like, I remember saying to one person, like, maybe I just need to go to a desert island, and then going, maybe I just need some time off. Then I remember even Lynn, saying that she knew someone who'd got long COVID and gone away, and it resolved with the sun, sea, sand. And I was like, it was like little seeds just got planted. And then I was like, my mum and dad were like, you should go to Portugal. And then I went to share an office with someone, and he was like, I've just done 90 days in Europe doing the digital nomad. And then I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, if like literally people, if you are, but at that point I was like a bit more eyes open. Even then I look back and I'm like, I was definitely more eyes open than I had been for a long time to hear these little messages that were coming in. And because I'd scaled back a little bit, because I was more open, because I'd given up going down rabbit holes of hostel appointments, consultants, diet, I was like, I'm kind of exhausted. I'm lost, So I was like, right. And without even realizing it, I think I'm giving up a bit here. But I wish I'd had the clarity at that point to go, like, universe, give me some I wish I'd asked for some guidance. Whether you believe in just a higher power is amazing, and you go, give me some guidance, and it all drops in. But I think it's just really helpful for people to start carving out time for anything like a long walk. I think you could almost have like personal development days or personal inset days where you take yourself off with a notepad and paper, somewhere beautiful, go to the coast, somewhere different, and go, right, what do I love? Like, what do I like? What do I care about? What makes my heart sing? What makes me feel excited about life? And even getting an idea of your fears, because you might have painted a really awful picture of your future and don't even realize that you've done it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really common, isn't it? So you're writing this horrible dialogue about this is going to be awful, this is going to be awful,
Yeah.
and you're living it each day. Whereas if you carve out some space, and it could just be morning walks initially, if that's all you've got, and you sit on a bench and you spend 10 minutes writing some stuff down, then you might do a half day, then you might build that up to like a longer walk at the weekend, or go somewhere beautiful like a national trust place in the UK, somewhere with that's existed before you and will be there after you, and like let the downloads and the inspiration come back. And half the time what we're trying to find is not, everyone jokes about finding myself or whatever. It's kind of, it is going back to your core values and the roots of your, I guess, like your true happiness, which we've lost. So it's only, for some people, it's like I often say, it's like taking off that big coat that's kind of like weighed you down for a long period of time, or like ripping off a mask that you've been putting on with that smiley face going, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine,
Yeah.
I'm fine, I'm fine. Like, and rip it all off and actually be fine. Like, go and find your fine. Like, and don't go and find your fine, go and find your flipping awesome. And that is a lot about, you're going to have to disappoint people. You're going to have to say no more. You're going to have to look selfish. You're going to have to look like you don't give a shit. And that has been the hardest bit for me. And then you're going to feel a bit guilty, but then you're going to start to see progress and that you show up a better person. And that's when you realize that people that love you will be like in awe and inspired by this and so relieved that you're happy. And people that are maybe not supposed to be a big part of your life are going to be envious, jealous, a bit reactive to the fact that you're now taking back time for yourself.
But again, like it comes back to the fear factor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like a lot of people, when you dig a bit deeper, like this is a lot of the work we do with our coaching clients, like when you dig a bit deeper on, what's stopping you taking 30 minutes out to go for a walk? What's stopping you, booking yourself a bloody massage? What's stopping you running yourself a bath and just like taking a moment for yourself in a book?
Guilt half the time.
Yeah, guilt, but guilt, which I think is attached to fear, because it's a fear of being judged for doing those things. Be a fear of being like labeled as selfish, for doing those
what it
things for
comes back
yourself.
to? What people think of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
that's the thing, like no man's an island, no woman's an island, but we exist in tribes that maybe we don't feel that anyone has our back anymore a little bit. And that, but also I think, I said to you, we invent stories as well. Like how many times do I say to you, you'll be like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because if I don't, I basically insinuated that it looks like I don't care about you. So I'll say something like, you've done the dishwasher about 3 times, I think, on the run. And one morning you were like, you're going to be late. Why are you doing the dishwasher? And I was like, because otherwise, just look like I'm leaving everything to you, like a lazy cow. And you were
well,
like,
I'm glad you finally stepped up. It was getting out of hand. I had a little list. I was like, dishwasher again?
oh dear.
I was going to present it to you at the end of the week. Say that kept a tally.
Like, this is something I do want to raise, is in a lot of households, we're really good with this. I think
We have a good balance.
We do have a good balance, and I'm really lucky. But prior to you, this is a really interesting story.
You are lucky.
I thought you were gonna go, I am lucky. Prior to you, this is a
Can you imagine? Oh,
this is
lucky.
the person I was with before you. I pretty much did everything domestically.
Yeah.
And I kind of chose to do that. So I can't really blame him.
Yeah.
I am quite a homemaker and I love a tidy home. But then I just fell into the habit of doing it all. And then interestingly, he earned more than me. And so I was a bit like, if we are going to end up married, I should probably do more of the domestic stuff. Really weird, kind of mimicking my mum and dad's relationship, really. My dad had the career, my mum stayed at home and had us. And I was kind of maybe thinking, we'll have kids. Anyway, we broke up and didn't. It did get to a point where I was so angry about doing all these chores. It just created fights all the time. But really interesting, we connected not long ago, and he had exactly the same problems in his current marriage and still wasn't cleaning the bathroom. And then really interesting, I said to my gran, I was like, oh, I saw my ex the other day, and she went, oh, the one that didn't clean the bathroom.
Oh wow, she didn't forget.
So she's like 19 and like, do you know what I mean, she's like remembered. And it was just really interesting that I was like, gosh, like, but there is this whole thing of, we were talking about it, like, why did I let it get to that point where I got so angry about it, and then we just had fights about it? Like, why didn't I take control sooner and go, no, we both work this many hours a week.
Yeah.
I want to go for a run, you want to go to the gym. So we didn't even have kids, but like, we had a hamster, you know.
Oh wow. That's hilarious.
But I'm like, we should have divided the chores from the very beginning. And why didn't we? Because we just fell into roles, and it was a joke, and it would be fun in front of friends. They go like, oh, you know, like, I'd be joking, going, yeah, I do absolutely everything, and and it was all funny, but then I was like, no, actually, I think I built resentment over time, and like now I think I'm seeing that happen a lot in kind of households where it's like, you should probably list out, you know, the kind of responsibilities, because this is why people aren't making time for self-care, because one person has taken on the load. But some of it is that you're a bit more, maybe I'm a bit more obsessive compulsive. Luckily you are quite a clean and tidy person as well, but I can't sit in a mess. Like, it makes me quite irritated. But again, it's about, I would need to compromise on that a little bit if you were like, no, I'll do it, but I'm not doing it every day. Like, that's too much for me. And
but again, like, it comes back to, like, there's a couple of things there. Is like, number one, communication. You know, rather than just letting something build and build and build, and then you're like, I don't do the dishwasher anymore. Like, you know, it's that communication. And again, like you said, it's like, but the story you had created was, you were like, you know, your upbringing was, you know, the man went out and worked, the mum looked after the wife looked after the house. In this situation, like, yeah, you didn't have kids, but you were the wife, and he earned more than you. So that's how you're almost justifying, oh, it's only right that I do a little bit more, because that kind of like, that balances things out a little bit, because he earns a bit more than me, blah blah blah.
By the way, I didn't see any of that money. We put the equal amount into the bills account.
That's another story.
But interestingly, that I didn't ever think to justify that. Do you see what I mean?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but you created this story, you know, and that's, you know, that's what you were kind of living by for however long. And I think this is something that we question a lot of our coaching clients on, because that's a big part of the job. It's almost like just calling them out on it, or as we like to say, calling them up, you know, because it's like, you're not calling them out because it's like, you're calling them up because it's a positive. And there's a reason why you're asking these questions. And it's like trying to just question their narrative, question their thought process, and this story that they've created that oftentimes is completely false. It's something that they've made up, what they think is going to happen. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a great example actually before we wrap up.
There is a good example on, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but Brené Brown's Call to Courage on Netflix has a great story about a husband and a wife creating completely separate interpretations of the same event. It's really clever.
Oh, quite a sound of that. I'm looking into that. I don't think I've seen that. But
I did send it to you.
did
Like,
you?
watch this.
I
Yeah.
don't watch half the shit you send me.
Oh no.
Joking. Um, the reality is it's the other way around. I'll be like, did you see that thing I sent you? And Keris like, oh no, I didn't actually. I was like, all right.
Can I before we
Um,
go, I've got to tell you the story of the snake. I did say I was going to
okay.
tell this on the
Let me tell
podcast.
my story first
Go on
though.
then.
So years and years ago, right? So I've always spent Christmas with, as you do, like your family. And it was always me, my mum, my nan, and my granddad. And my stepdad for a stint. And then my granddad passed away. So it was, of course, me, my mum, my nan, and my stepdad. Then my stepdad passed away, me, my mum, my nan. And then, my my nan passed away. So it was like me and my mum, like in recent times, right? But if we rewind right the way back to when you and I had kind of like first got together and it came to Christmas time, and I was like, well, I'm spending Christmas with my family, you're spending Christmas with yours. And then as the years went on, um, it was a bit like, oh, like we want to spend Christmas together. But we kind of did this whole, I was with my family, and then on Boxing Day, I'd shoot down to London to be with you and yours type thing. And Keris is always like, can't you do it the other way around one year? Like have Christmas with us and then go up to your family on Boxing Day type thing. And I was like, oh no. Like I couldn't possibly. Like it would my mum would be devastated, my nan would be devastated if I'm not there on Christmas Day. And that was the story I'd created. I was like, couldn't even fathom like having that conversation because of the carnage it would bring. But then it got to a point where it was getting quite difficult doing the big drive early Boxing Day morning, like because I was like put a bit of a downer on my Christmas Day because I couldn't like go to bed late, couldn't really drink and stuff like that. Not that, that's the bloody be all and end all of Christmas, but it was almost like no one really wants to get up at like 4 in the morning on Boxing Day.
No.
Unless they're catching a flight abroad or something, I don't know. But in the end, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna have the convo with my mum, and I really like braced myself, and I was like, oh mum, like, I had an idea of like, maybe Christmas this year, like, I spend it with Keris and her family, and then on Boxing Day, Keris and I will both come up, and then we can go to the Boxing Day sales, which you love. I was almost trying to sell it to her. She went, oh yeah, that'd be lovely. That's absolutely fine. Like, and it was genuine. It
Yeah.
wasn't a kind of like through gritted teeth, like, yeah, okay, if that's what you want. Like,
Yeah.
and I was
Your
like,
mum's good at saying expressing her thoughts, isn't
yeah, like, yeah, oh yeah, God, yeah. You would have known about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this thing that for years I had just decided I had created this story of how my mum was going to react, how my nan was going to react.
Yeah.
And my nan, just to make it even worse, was like, do you know what? I always wondered why you never did that anyway. I used to hate seeing you get up really early and doing that big drive back to London on Boxing Day. And like this one, like, doing it this way is just better all round, isn't it? And I was like, oh wow, like classic example of just making up a completely fictional story. And yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Sorry, Hamish is sneezing in the background. It's thrown me a bit.
Like,
It's pouring.
yeah.
You can see it's pouring.
But
So I just wanted to finish by sharing. This is kind of like one of the shamanic tales that I've been reading about, and it's the story of Quetzalcoatl.
okay. Oh,
That one.
from Greenwich.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we met in the pub.
So I'll probably mess this up, but yeah. Basically, it's a story about like all the snakes live in a cage, and there is God of the Rain. And God of the Rain basically starts a downpour one day, and all the snakes are like, oh, let's go out into the rain. They all go out, apart from one little snake stays in the cage. And he's like, I don't like the rain. I'm going to stay in the cage. In the cave, sorry.
Cave doesn't.
And the God of the Rain's like, oh no, why are you staying in there? Don't be silly. Like, come out, come and see the world, come and see everything that the world has to offer you. And the snake is like, no, I don't like it. I'm going to stay in my little cave. And the God of the Rain is like, I don't want this to happen. So I'm going to send more rain down, more rain down. So the cave starts to fill up with water. And the little snake, he's like, come out. And he's like, no. The little snake's like, no. He starts to crawl up the wall. And God of the Rain is like, wow, I'm going to send more rain. So he sends more rain, more water goes into the cave. And the little snake is going higher and higher and going, no, I just want to stay here. I just want to stay here. Like, leave me alone. I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go out there. Don't know what it is. Don't know what's out in the world. Anyway, he sends down more rain, and eventually the water takes the little snake and he gets washed out of the cave. He has no choice, and he comes out, and then the god of the rain stops the rain, and he blows the clouds away, and the sun comes out and it shines down on the snake, and the snake's like, this is amazing. And he's like, see, I told you, just because you're just too scared to come out and see what was really out there for you. And then he's like, wow, look at the sun, look at these amazing birds. Like, I'm loving the birds, they're fantastic. Anyway, as he's admiring all this stuff and he can feel the sun and he's like, wow, a snake comes past him and goes, yeah, look at that amazing bird up there, but you'll never be as good as that because you're just a crappy little snake. So basically he tries to put him in his place, and the snake's like, oh, that is quite sad, isn't it? Like, that I'll never be a great bird in the sky. And God of the Rain is like, I'm not having this. So he blows down a gust of wind and it lifts the little snake into the sky. And then he's basically flying, but then he blows another gust of wind and gets the snake to fly higher than the birds. And the snake's like, this is amazing. I'm now flying. Actually, rewind a little bit. He did say he started to imagine himself being a bird and flying.
Right.
And then the god of the rain was like, well, I'm going to make that happen, and blew the wind, lifted the snake up, made him go higher than the birds, took him right up to the sun. And the snake was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I can actually feel the sun in me. Like, I can feel the light in me. I can feel amazing. I'm the sun is me, and there's no difference between us. And then basically he goes into the sun and he comes out the other side, and he's formed wings, and he becomes this mythical creature, which is half serpent, half magnificent bird.
Wow.
So he becomes Quetzalcoatl.
Ah.
And the point of the story is that where you're staying now and feeling all of this discomfort, like, there's a little bit of a, like we often say, it's like a pain barrier that you have to just go through to kind of get out to, but on the other side of that discomfort zone, it's absolutely friggin' amazing. And this has definitely been my experience of all of these all the kind of deeper work that I've done on like mindset and emotional work. It's like, yeah, it's hard and it's difficult and it's not easy and changing and not giving a shit what people think. It's all fucking uncomfortable, but on the other side of it is so freeing. Like, it's brilliant, and you can feel lighter and you can see the light. But as you're doing that process, snakes are going to come in and go, who do you think you are? You're just this, stay in your lane, stay in your place. So like the other part of it is that. But then they also said the bit of your brain that takes that information on, the shamans call it the parasite in the brain. And it's that negative bit of you that goes, no, you can't have that. Yeah, you call it part X because that's that Carl Jung? I don't know.
That's what Phil Stutz.
Oh, is it right? He calls it part X.
Yeah.
And that's the bit of you that stops you. So on your journey to kind of do some of these things that are going to be eventually, so like I said, it's a chance for your own kind of freedom. And in a life where you'll still have responsibility and things to do, there will be voices that come in, the part of your brain, the parasite tells you can't have it, but for you're Quetzalcoatl on the other side.
But that's a really lovely story, actually.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's based on a true story.
It's like a yes, in my imagination. But the other part of it was in shamanism, they believe if you don't use your imagination and creativity, you will never find the answers. And that's why I'm often kind of encouraging clients to try creative hobbies, you said, like drawing, painting, all of these things, but also, like you're really good at using your imagination for worst case scenario. So why not use your imagination for best case scenario? And again, that's something that we've done with vision boards and like positive visualizations in the morning. We've started to use more ritual, haven't we? We've started to get up, light a candle, do some journaling, I do my meditations, you journal, and we're like, it helps keep us in the present rather than our brain going into the future and fearing all these things and creating things that haven't happened, or going back to the past and ruminating.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like I do genuinely love that story, because I love stories like that anyway, that get like a really good message across. Like, but it's almost like, my interpretation is like that deep down the snake didn't want to stay in the cave. It wanted to go out there and explore the world, but the cave was a safe place. Like it wasn't necessarily what he wanted.
But it would have consumed him.
Yeah, like, but he was like,
Yeah.
but there's familiarity here.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
I've been here before. I've been with this discomfort. Like, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas out there's an unknown type thing. And I want to read something actually because I shared this morning. This is like one of my mentors shared this today on Facebook, and it tied in so well with a chat we were having on our walk this morning.
Yeah.
And Yassine Dabadeh is his name, amazing guy. And he just sometimes I'm like, I feel like he's bugged my phone and just heard what I was saying this morning and then did a status update just for me. And it goes like this because I think everyone can take something. And it says, if you're reading this, then my assumption is that you are still alive and a breathing human and haven't been bitten by a zombie yet. And as humans, we all have dreams, goals, and desires. The problem? Most of those dreams and goals and desires go unfulfilled. And while we might have reasons and excuses for those unfulfilled dreams, they are all just guises of fear. Fear that we're not good enough, fear that we'll fail, fear that our fears will be true. Whatever the rationalization is, it is fear. The thing about fear, fear is not the truth. The truth is that we are mortal and that our time is limited. We must reach into ourselves and do it. We need it more than anyone. And the gift we receive is the person we become in the process. Personally, I think the greatest moments in our lives, the defining ones, they are when we cross this threshold,
Come out the cave.
when we take that risk, when we make that commitment, when we fling open the door. Those are the moments we look back at and remember. Those are the moments that make us who we are. The rest of life is just scenery passing by at breakneck speed. But crossing thresholds, those are the crucial plot turns in the movie of our life. That makes the ride a thrilling one to be on.
Oh, that's amazing. I like that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can
definitely.
I can feel myself like
I can see you welling up.
getting choked up reading
He's
that. But yeah, I think that's a good way to end
Yeah,
today's
I agree.
podcast, and that's
Hopefully,
something for you all to ponder and sit with a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I enjoyed that, Keris. Thank you very much. Fitties, as always, hope you got something from that. Whether it was just a moment of laughter, you could smile, anything that was a bit thought provoking and has made you look within a little bit, whatever it is, like take that, and yeah, that's a big win. And as always, if we can help in any way, any questions, anything you'd like us to cover, by all means, please do get in touch. And as Keris said the last couple of weeks, give us a review, would you? Yeah,
Leave a
it
good
really does
5
help.
stars. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, be
yes,
amazing.
it'd be amazing.
Thank you.
See you in episode
200.
200. We made it almost. See ya.
Bye.